I'm in James chapter 4, verse 7 through 10, because the book of James is very controversial, especially in Lutheran circles. We love the whole grace thing, and James is it's kind of a how do I say it? He's tough. We'll say he's tough. You can use a different word. The word that jumped to my mind, perhaps I shouldn't say. He's tough, very strict. Okay, so here we go. James chapter 4, 7 through 10. Submit yourselves then to God. Resist the evil one, and he will flee from you. Come near to God, and God will come near to you. Wash your hands, you sinners, and purify your hearts, you double-minded. Grieve, mourn, and wail. Change your laughter to mourning and your joy to gloom. Humble yourselves for the Lord, and he will lift you up. And it keeps going, actually, in other sections, but of how to live, okay? I always, actually, in verse 12, but you, who are you to judge your neighbor? It's a great line. Anyway, so what's going on here? What does it have to seek out of God? Well, obviously, verse 8, come near to God, and God will come near to you. Seek out God, right? How often have we talked this week? A covenantal relationship, the promises of God, God's abiding presence, right? When we pray, God listens and answers. When we seek God out, God is found. When we're looking for how to impact the world and in the ministries of our lives, we seek where God's presence is. In the margins, in the unfamiliar, sometimes, right? Here, I kind of chuckled too. There was a meme that I may have sent around or participated in sending around at the very beginning of COVID, before we knew it was serious. The the Bible tells us how to deal with COVID. Wash your hands, you sinners. I thought that was funny at the time. Now, anyway, don't tell anyone, right? Anyway, but yes, I also find this passage to be interesting in that, change your laughter to mourning, your joy to gloom. Why? Why that? Do we have to be gloomy to be Christians? No, it's rather in a time of penitence. Goodness gracious, even for me to say. Um, let's take this seriously. Is how I think I would translate this, right? There's a time for laughing and a time for joy. There's also a time for mourning and a time for gloom. As a nation, we got to remember that. There's a lot of people mourning right now, and that's okay. There's a lot of people who are in gloom right now, wrestling with mental health and such, and that's okay. We need to provide those spaces for people too. You can't just laugh it off and go back to being happy and pretending it didn't happen, right? We can't go back. COVID has happened. Even if we did wash our hands, COVID still happened, okay? Even if we sent stupid memes to start COVID and we were wrong about it, we can't go back. We have to live with it. And so, knowing this, how do we live with it? We seek God. We ask God to come near. We go near to God, and God is near with us. Right? We're humble. There's a power in humility, in seeking God out and admitting we don't have the answers. We thought washing our hands was going to, and in 2 weeks flatten the curve was going to fix COVID, and it didn't. Now we live in the aftermath. Right? Now we live with something that'll forever be a part of all of our lives. It will. So let's be humble and embrace where God is calling us here, to console those who mourn and mourn with those who mourn. Right? To take this seriously. To be the church in meaningful ways, to seek God's presence in the world where God is near to the heart of people right now and meet those needs. We can't go back. We can't change what's happened as much as we want to. We need to live meaningfully, humbly, seeking God's presence. All right. On that note, I know James, not the most uplifting book, but a powerful book. This is, again, as we go into this weekend, we have to embrace reality sometimes. But God is in that reality too. There's so much potential for our doing ministry together, both as a congregation, but also in our personal lives. There's power in that. God's presence in that. Let's seek it out. Okay. Well, I hope you have a great rest of your weekend. I'll see you on Sunday. Thanks for having coffee with me.